Hello, Sharif here, and I should say Sharif barely here. Feeling not good today, and I know why. Um, Upset tummy from something I ate yesterday. I'm doing better and better by the minute, but up until a couple of hours ago, I didn't know whether or not I was going to um, be present. So, so I'm present. Thank you, and I'm. I'd like to say I'm raring to go and raring to get everything squared away here, and I'm not raring at all. But I will get through the next half hour or so, and we will um, have a good session. Um, I'm doing what I usually do, which is set a timer for our 5 minute meditation. And I am going to invite you to um, uh, look at our candle as opposed to me. I'm not looking so hot today. I will suggest that you close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that. I will ask you on your own to take a few deep breaths. Okay, if you want to open your eyes and rejoin our circle, and let's get started with our our day today. And before we get started with the book, with the working on the concept of the Chronicles of the Upheavals and the themes that are coming from the various chapters there, I want us to focus on something else for a few minutes. Those of you who have been with me since last year or so remember when I was doing the video stream called the that I called the Wave, and I looked at the various issues that could confront us as um, a global species and how those things can interact with us and what we can do to um, balance things out. And if you remember correctly, one of those things that I said might affect us was a very significant solar storm. Well, guess what, boys and girls? We just had a very significant solar storm. Um, when you get auroras down as far as Florida and Cuba and Mexico, then you've pretty much covered most of our human populated world with uh, intense electromagnetic radiation coming from the sun. Um, I thought it was very interesting to look at how our global media handled the event. Um, and I'd say that 99% of it was, oh, look at the pretty lights in the sky. Isn't that wonderful? And that was about the end of it. Um, it all depends on the intensity of the solar flare and then the intensity of the coronal mass ejection that happens directly after that, and more than the intensity, the direction of it. Those three factors added up together, and you get what could be a very significant solar event. Now, given the world that we've created through breaker consciousness, there's not a whole, if that coronal mass ejection hits and hits us directly, everything we know, everything that's based on electricity is going to go down, is going to go down for a very significant time. How significant? It could be weeks and weeks. It could be months and months. It could be forever. Since it's never ever happened, we have no idea what will happen. I had an experience with this particular solar storm. By the way, while I'm thinking about it, every morning when I take a brief look at the news, one of the news things that I look at is a website called spaceweather.com. It's free. I recommend it. That'll tell you what's coming your way, and it'll also tell you the significance of it without spinning of, oh, look, just look at the pretty lights. We don't have to worry about anything actually happening to us. I didn't see any of the auroras, perhaps because I'm too much in a light envelope here in Portland, Oregon. But I definitely heard it. I listened to, and part of my meditation technique is to listen to these binaural sounds that hums that affect each ear differently and winds up with you attuning your brain. And I like my brain tuned up. I like my brain tuned up by me and not by the folks who are trying to sell me something on television. So I usually listen wired. I have wired earbuds, but I happen to listen to it on a wireless set. And the tone that I listen to is steady. Oh, by the way, if you want the link to the binaural sounds that I listen to, just send me a note and I'll be glad to give it to you. But it's a constant tone for as long as you want it. If you dial it up for 10 minutes, it's a constant tone for 10 minutes. And if you dial it up for an hour, it's a constant tone for an hour. No commercials. And so I had my wireless earbuds on and listen to that tone going, and I'm like, what is that? And the answer to what is that was the sound of the electromagnetic bath that we were taking as a planet. It could, if the solar flare was direct and the following coronal mass ejection was direct, it could heat my earbuds up to the point that I couldn't wear them in my head. It could set them on fire. A coronal mass ejection and solar flare back in the 1890s set all the telegraph terminals on fire. And that was the only thing we were using electricity for at the time. You know, I don't say this stuff to you to make you afraid. I say it because we need to be prepared. And all of our leaders, they're not preparing us unless they figured out a way to make money from it. In which case, oh yes, be afraid, buy our generator, buy our filters, buy our whatever. So we, those of us who care about ourselves and each other and the earth, need to start asking ourselves these questions. What should we do about this? And what how do we act with and for each other for the common good? It's time for us to start thinking about the common good, not the good of what's on the left or the good, I guess I should point to the left, the good that's what's on the left and the good that's what's on the right. Okay, let's get into our first chapter for today from Chronicles of the Upheavals. And this is going to be about our FEMA cities, and I'm assuming from the in the book that these upheavals are going to be creating such disasters that the disasters will be compiling on each other. It's not going to just be a hurricane and then you get over it, or just an electrical failure and then you get over it, or just flooding and then you get over it. It's going to be what happens when 3, 4, 5, 10 of these things all happen at the same time. Well, I think it's going to be pretty interesting, and let's take a look at this chapter that's coming up regarding the FEMA cities.
In the face of multiple crises stretching America's urban infrastructure to the breaking point, many cities have seen a growth of emergency encampments within their borders. These so-called FEMA cities are places where people can get food, shelter, and basic services. Some of the temporary cities have been set up in vacant stadiums, and some have been tent cities, but FEMA is running short of tents and everything else. We're prepared for hurricanes, tornadoes, or earthquakes. We're not prepared for this, said Sergio Hernandez, regional director for FEMA. Everything's gone wrong, and it's all gone wrong at once. We can't feed and house hundreds of thousands of people indefinitely. In a strange turn of events, the recent bankruptcy of the NBA has actually helped and been a blessing of sorts for FEMA. The large buildings that were vacant in most cities have now been used as temporary shelters and storage facilities for food and equipment, just until America and the NBA are back on their feet, said Regional Director Hernandez.
Okay. Well, because we know what happens in the book, America doesn't get back on its feet. There's another chapter where I talk about FEMA. Let's see if I can find that really quick. Yeah, it's paid for those of you who are trying to read along. It's around page 144. This is a few years later than the section I just read to you. That was just on the video. It starts out, FEMA was never meant to, and this is the new FEMA director. They're changing directors like once a year or so. FEMA was never meant to provide a long-term solution to societal ills. These are not emergencies as much as social breakdowns, says the new FEMA director. So they decided to do something, which is the pure bureaucratic way that they would handle things. A lifetime cap of 6 months on receiving FEMA resources. That they restrict the kinds of emergencies that they respond to. We can't respond to environmental disasters like fires or floods anymore. Some other agency will have to take care of that. Well, what agency? And they were establishing regional food and shelter centers. So if something happened in Tampa, Florida, the food that's waiting for you is going to be in Miami, and you got to find a way to get there. And then, so the rest of the chapter is people reacting to that, with FEMA saying, well, churches and other organizations will have to take up the slack. And then they had the next person is the director of National Ecumenical Ministries saying there's no way that the faith-based organizations can respond to even a fraction of the need. This is, and the final part is, even in the face of all this, the president is defending NASA's budget, saying it's really too bad what's happening on the ground, but we really need to get to Mars. Okay, so the next vignette, the next chapter we're going to talk about is the what I call the Chipmunk. This is kind of interesting. It looks like a counseling session between Man Unko, whom you've met in our prior live streams, and one of the masters. See, in the Awakening Center, you've got a difference between the monks and the masters. The monks are people who have taken made a commitment to staying with and upholding the health and well-being of the Awakening Center. But the masters are people who have decided to literally become masters at something. You make an intention to get good at it. So there may be a master gardener. Later in the book, you find a master who handles water and deals with water. You may find other masters who do other things. And it's not clear from this clip what Master Auroran is a master of, but he's definitely one of the senior masters at the Awakening Center. And he's talking to Man Onko to help him to see himself. And I won't say any more than that. I'll just let it roll. So hang on for a second.
Overt behavior, like fighting or cursing, is difficult enough to correct. But how do you correct for more subtle behaviors? And how do you do it so that the student really learns the lesson? Hey man, you don't have one of those observers. Before you speak to me, you will bow to me. Oh yeah, I forget. So why not you get one of those creepy observers? You don't rate? Before you speak to me, you will sit in silence and wait for me to speak first. Damn. You should know, novice man Onko, that I usually do not waste my time sitting with novices. However, several of your monks have asked me to take a look at you, which is why you're here. So, novice man Onko, I believe you had a question. Hey, I forgot by now, which means that your question was not important to you. However, your question was important to me, so I'll remind you and then answer it. You were inquiring about why I still use a digital recorder and not use the services of one of our observers. Yeah, that was it. I don't use the observers because I don't think that is a respectful use of human consciousness. I also don't approve of the techniques they use to enhance the memory capacities of the observers. Oh yeah? What they do? Jack them up with drugs? Do you really care about the answer? Or are you just talking because you haven't learned the discipline of keeping one's mouth shut? Hey, you guys, you monks, are always telling us to be curious and creative. I'm just trying to learn. Are you trying to learn right now? Do you really want to know how observers are enhanced? Yeah, of course. Well, transfer 10 credits to my account and I will tell you. 10 credits? Why should I pay? Isn't learning supposed to be free? How come you're profiting from my learning? Fair enough. I should not profit from your learning. Instead of transferring the 10 credits to me, I want you to transfer 10 credits to that chipmunk outside my window. What? Are you brain dead? That chipmunk don't have no account. The more excited you get, the worse your language gets. Do not forget that I am a master. Please repeat what you said. Sorry for saying you're brain dead, but that chipmunk doesn't have an account, so I can't transfer any credits to him. To her, actually. Her name is Roberta, and she has an account balance larger than yours is right now. What? Why does a chipmunk need an account balance? What does it do with the credits? And that question will be our lesson for today. You know, of all the weirdos here at Weirdo Academy, you really take the cake. I really want to find out the stuff that you're smoking. My smoking habits will be the subject of another day. Right now, we're talking about Roberta's account balance. Why does she need one? She doesn't. She's a fucking, excuse me, she's an animal. She eats nuts, climbs trees, and gets humped regularly, probably in that order. She don't need my 10 credits to do any of that. True. So why does she have one? Because you guys are weirdos. Do you really think that's an answer I will accept? I give up. I don't know. Why do you check your account balance 3 or 4 times a day? What? How do you know that? One day you will figure out how we know everything. Right now, just answer the question. I just want to know that no one's cheating me out of credits. Have you found any cheating? No. Speak up. Sit up straight. No, sir. You've been here 6 weeks. Why do you still check every day, several times a day? Is there something wrong with checking? There's nothing wrong with checking your balance. I'm not here to talk about your account balance. I'm here to help you find out who you are. I think you're discovering something about yourself. I feel funny inside. Can we talk later? We will talk now. Let's try to bring that funny feeling from inside to outside. Since you check your balance so often, what do you know about your totals? They keep going up. Have they ever gone down? No. If you work and go to school, your totals go up. Not by a lot, but by the end of the week, you have more credits than you started with. After we deduct your food, your clothes, your bed, all that extra ice cream you eat during your meals, you still have more at the end of the week than you did before. Didn't we promise you that on the first day you arrived here?
Yes.
You will speak up. Have we kept our promise? Yes, sir. Now, how often do you think Roberta checks her account balance? I get it. Please answer me. She doesn't check it because she doesn't have to check it. She gets fed whether she has a high or a low balance. Are you planning on leaving the center? What? No. Or, I don't have any plans on leaving. Good. We would miss you. I would miss you. But frequent balance checks is a sign of someone about to jump the fence. So, if you're not a fence jumper, why do you do it? Okay, I'll try to check less. That doesn't answer my question. I want to know who you are. I want to know the kind of person you are. I don't want you walking around here like a zombie, reacting blindly, unconsciously, like the people on the outside do. Why do you keep checking your balances? I don't know. That actually is a good answer. Good enough for right now, anyway. You have a new assignment. You are still free to check your balance as many times a day as you like, but you must check it at least twice a day, every morning and every evening. When you check it, I want you to do these things. Number one, before you check, you will meditate for 5 minutes on my question. Why are you checking? Write down any answers that come to you. You will check Roberta's balance first, then yours. You will write down both of the balances, yours and Roberta's. You will find Roberta and tell her what her balance is every time you check yours. Understand? Wow. Man, this is really heavy. And once I give you Roberta's account number, there will be nothing to stop you from transferring her balance to you. You will have the power to steal from her. Steal from that. It gets weirder by the minute. Wow. You are doing something very important. You are revealing yourself to yourself. Yeah, and to a fucking squirrel. She's a chipmunk.
So there was an afternote to this particular uh, chapter. And in the afternote, uh, it says, 1 week after receiving his assignment, Man Unko wrote the following note to Master Auroran. Roberta doesn't care about her account balance. Neither do I. We're both getting enough nuts. I still don't know who I am, but I know I'm not outside anymore and I'm not hungry. And yes, I can steal from Roberta, but that would make me stupider than a squirrel, which he crossed out and he wrote Chipmunk. Based on this note, Master Auroran canceled further counseling sessions. This is an important chapter where we get an idea of how we can counsel ourselves out of our um, present stupor, our present blindness, our present walking through life, not really engaging in life. That we can stop checking our credit balances. We can stop counting up the nuts that we've got and try to figure out where we are, and most importantly, who we are. We can start to ask ourselves the question, what's really important for us? Um, you know that I've been ending these sections with a mantra, a prayer. That may all beings be well, may all beings be secure, and may all beings be happy. A lot of people, not just the Buddha, found out that these are the key elements for every being on the planet. Now, again, the chipmunk doesn't care how much Roberta the chipmunk, this dresser up, doesn't care what her account balance is. The thing that she cares about is what every being from a protoplasm all the way up to a whale passing human beings somewhere along the line, they care about being well. Now, what does well mean? Well means being healthy in your physical body. Well means being healthy in your mental body. Well means being healthy in your emotional body. And well means being healthy in your spiritual body. If you're checking if what you're concerned about, if what you're focused on is your bank balance, then you're not well in any of those directions. So being secure means being secure in all four of those realms, being secure in your body, in your physical life, being secure in your mental life, meaning not being afraid of everything and everybody, being secure in your emotional life, and being secure in your spiritual lives, knowing who you are and where you are in your spiritual realm. And by spiritual, as you've heard me say for the past 20, 30 years or so, I'm not talking about your religious life. I'm talking about the life of your spirit, the life of you that continues on after this body drops dead. And then finally, being happy. And happy does not mean ha ha, he he, I'm so happy, I'm being titillated now. I'm going to get high and act like I'm not myself anymore. That the only way I can be happy is to stop being myself. Okay. So being happy in your physical life means you are getting a balance of exercise and a balance of rest, a balance of the good things that happen to you, or like me today, feeling not so good, but knowing how to feel better. And I feel better already. Being happy in your mental life means you've got a mental life and you're not sitting around blasting your brain from television or any of the other ways you can distract yourself from where you are and how you are. Being happy in your emotional life does not mean ignoring your emotional life in a blaze of constant sex, which may have nothing to do with your emotional life. You can have sex and still be as empty as ever, maybe even more empty. And being happy in your spiritual life means having a sense of fulfillment and how you get to that fulfillment. Okay, so knowing this, in the book, I'm creating a world, a society where all of the elements of that help all of the other elements in these three values. Now, none of those elements help you make more money. If your goal is to make more money, don't come to an awakening center, stay out on the street, make sure you get your reserve seat on the Titanic, and I won't see you later. But if our goal is to create a world that works for all living beings, to create a world that works for all living beings who care to live in that world. If you want to live in a world of money, then go ahead, go for it. Might be a spot for you on Mars somewhere. But if your goal is to live with all other living beings and to live with those beings in some sense of harmony, relationship, direction, etc., then we're busy creating that world right now. And I am looking forward to working with you as we are creating that world. Okay, I'm going to act right now like I didn't know if I could go the entire half hour, and now I'm over it again. So I guess that means I must be feeling better. Okay, so we are going to wrap up with our mantra. You remember when they give you the instruction on the airplane that if the masks fall down, if you need to save your life, you save yourself first. People would have this tendency, they want to put the mask on their child first, okay? And that means that they could lose so much oxygen, they will not be able to put it on their child or themselves. Once you put the mask on yourself, then you're able to help the child, and as one airline said, and anyone else acting like a child. So we focus on ourselves first, then we focus on our other, and then we focus on those of us who are creating this new society, and then we focus on all other beings. So first me, may I be well, may I be secure, may I be happy. May you be well, may you be secure, may you be happy. May we be well, may we be secure, may we be happy. And may all beings be well, may all beings be secure, may all beings be happy. Thanks a lot. Thanks for hanging in with me today. Thanks for giving me the energy to complete this. And I look forward to you joining us on the next session on this coming Tuesday. And by the way, if you don't get the live stream announcement or anything like that, you can look on the Commonway website, commonway.org, look in the activities section, and you should see the upcoming links for YouTube and for LinkedIn and for Facebook. Thanks a lot. Talk to you later. Bye.